This video will discuss the preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of Casa Carlucci.
The embassy keeps this house in such a good condition and respecting the tradition and the cultural lines of the house is already something to remark.
Secretary of State's Register is primarily an honorific listing. The most important list that we have is our list of significant properties. And that's kind of equivalent to the National Register in the United States. So the properties that are on that list are properties that essentially meet the same qualifications as they would have to meet to be on the National Register. So is it architecturally significant, or was it by a famous architect? Is there an archaeological site there? Did some significant event happen there? Something along those lines. And then, of course, if it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's automatically on that list. Or if it's protected by the host nation, it's automatically on that list. So Casa Carlucci is locally protected. And it's also a significant piece of neoclassical architecture. To really rise up to the Secretary of State's Register, it has a lot to do with in 1974 when Ambassador Carlucci was here, and the work that he did with the head of Portugal in keeping Portugal part of the NATO country and not letting communism take over. So it's really much more of a diplomatic issue that makes it rise up to that level of being on the Secretary's Register.
The plasterwork and the molding, the windows, the main architectural features of the house are original as far as we can tell. We definitely have done a lot to this residence that wasn't originally part of the plan, specifically when it comes to air conditioning and heating. So this house has a new advanced system in it that clearly wasn't part of the design to begin with. That's required us to do some tricky engineering to hide the ductwork and things like that. We went to the city archives and tried to find some of the historical documentation for the property and tried to find out how the garden was originally laid out. And any change we made, we tried to change toward the restoration of what the garden was originally intended to be. The back patio wasn't part of the original property, but it's a critical part to the property now, so it's remained. The yard we've done our best to restore that to as far as what we can tell the yard would have been. The shutters on the outside of the house are a metal roll-down shutter that were not originally part of the house. So, yeah, but I'm unaware of any major changes that have happened. We're talking about repairing / replacing the roof. And that's going to be a big project. And we've done a lot of research on whether or not the tiles that are on the roof right now are the original kind. And if we do change roof tiles, right now we're thinking we probably won't, because it appears that roof tile that's on the house now was in fact manufactured at the time that the house was built. And likely, based on the rest of the neighborhood, likely the same tile that was on it originally. So we think that we'll probably not change the tile, but if we did, or if we concluded otherwise, the goal would be to try to use the same kind of tile roof tile that was originally intended on the house. So yeah, it's all with preservation in mind. Air conditioning in an old house like this can be a real problem because it changes the humidity of the air. And we have right now some pretty serious problems with the wood railing in the atrium. There's some really intricate original woodwork that has dried out and shrunk since we added air conditioning. And it's actually in some ways ruined that original woodwork. So when we're talking about those systems, you have to be careful. Replacement of a kitchen, and it's the family kitchen that was very much worn out. The cabinets were falling apart, and the cabinets were clearly not original. They were really low quality. So we're putting in very high quality custom cabinets with a lot of natural stone material. the U.S. government is lucky to have such a great property, and I think there are not many embassies that have such nice residences for the ambassador.